Welcome to the February edition of our Global College Spotlight. Each month, we introduce you to a top university outside the US where globally minded students can earn a full undergraduate degree taught entirely in English. Today, we are featuring the Brussels School of Governance, an institution in Belgium that is known for its strong international focus. Located in the heart of Brussels, the school offers 3 bachelor's and 2 master's programs fully taught in English, preparing students for careers on the world stage. Studying in Brussels is an incredible experience in itself. As the capital of Belgium, it's a vibrant, multicultural city, and it's also the political heart of Europe. It hosts parts of the European Parliament and other key EU institutions. The city also boasts several UNESCO World Heritage Sites that add to its rich historical and cultural appeal. Today's Global College Spotlight is organized by Global College Advisors, and you will hear more about GCA in just a moment. Before we begin with the presentation, though, let's quickly go over a few housekeeping notes. For anyone who has questions, please use the chat function and know that we will have a Q&A session after the presentation. And secondly, the webinar is being recorded and we will post the video on our YouTube channel later on. So please check the Global College Advisors YouTube channel if you would like to rewatch some of the information that will get shared today. And with that, let's move into some introductions. My name is Cornelia Betschart-Fortes. I'm the founder of Global College Advisors, also GCA in short. At GCA, we connect students with universities across the world, including the United States. We provide personalized college consulting and help students explore both US and international options to find the best academic and financial fit. From college research to essays and application strategy, we support students every step of the way. Now, let's dive into today's featured university, the Brussels School of Governance. As mentioned earlier, the Brussels School of Governance, or BSoG in short, is an institution in Belgium that offers globally focused programs in international affairs, business, and more. Located in the heart of Europe, it provides students with unique opportunities to study in a political and cultural hub, surrounded by EU institutions, international organizations, and a diverse global community. To tell us more about BSoG and what makes it such an exciting place to study, I'm pleased to introduce our guest speaker, Juan Carlos Ruiz Coll. Juan Carlos is the Senior Student Recruitment Officer at BSoG and has been working in international education since 2010. He began his career as a coordinator for a study abroad program in Siena, Italy, and has since dedicated himself to helping students explore academic opportunities across borders. At the Brussels School of Governance, he is responsible for promoting the institution and its programs, representing the school within the international admissions community, and serving as the first point of contact for prospective students, families, and counselors. Juan Carlos, thank you so much for joining us today. I will stop sharing my screen now and you can take it away. Thank you.
All right, let me try to do it right.
I will tell you if I can.
Hopefully everybody
It looks good. Looks good.
See the screen and I went ahead. Anyway, thank you, Cornelia, for having me today. It's really great to connect with you and with your audience all the way from Brussels to California. So thank you for having me. Again, to everybody listening to us, I'm Juan Carlos. I represent the Brussels School of Governance. Before we dive into our, let's say, presentation, I want you to kind of, if you have been to Washington, D.C., okay, I want you to kind of go back to your time in Washington, D.C. And if you have never been to D.C. or you have never been to Brussels, I want you to think of anything that you can to think or imagine about these two cities and keep that thought because they will become very useful during the presentation. So while you are thinking, I'm going to show you a quick video about our city. It will show some key elements that will play a significant role while you are studying here with us. So we'll be back in like 1 minute or less. Okay, so hopefully that played correctly for everybody. So I want you to go back to those thoughts that you had perhaps about Washington, D.C., what is happening there. And if you have been in Brussels, of course, bring back those memories into the presentation. So in this video, I showed you some very key elements about the European Union, NATO, for example. Those things will play a significant role while you are studying here with us. Also, you saw a high degree of diversity. That is something that we're very proud of our city and in Belgium, of course, in general. So those of you less familiar with Brussels, as Cornelia also mentioned before, it is the capital of Belgium, but we are also the capital of Europe, as we have here the European Commission and the European Union headquarters, and the largest concentration of diplomatic missions, non-profit organizations, business headquarters, and so on, operating in the European market. So Brussels, being in the heart of Europe, not just politically, but also geographically, will connect you very much with different opportunities to either explore your career perspective or goal, but also to explore the rest of the continent and have some fun, travel around while you are studying here with us. So here on the map, you can see somehow a little bit our location. So we are right at the center of the country, very much near other cosmopolitan or capital cities as well. So you are under a 2-hour train ride from Amsterdam, from London, Paris as well. So moving around is very easy, and also, as I said, adds on to your academic experience and your time here with us. So other very important international organizations, the EU and NATO, kind of shaping the global, let's say, security and how things are being run here today, also is part of our program. Our students will explore this, and we will, of course, bring you to those institutions and so on. So Belgium perhaps is not your first, let's say, idea of a destination to study high university, but here I give you a few reasons why you should keep studying in Belgium in your radar. So the first thing is that Belgium in general offers world-class education. So there is a big emphasis on research and education development. So all of the degrees that you will find here, and especially at the Brussels School of Governance as well, are recognized across the European Union and beyond. So that means that you can continue your studies at the graduate level, PhD, and so on with the degree that you get from us, okay? We have alumni doing studies in the US, Canada, Australia, even Japan. So let's say that after studying with us, you can kind of continue your journey internationally. As Cornelia also mentioned, our programs are entirely in English, so you don't need to learn any of the local languages, being Dutch or French, to study with us. But of course, you will have that unique opportunity to either explore those skills or let's say work on them if you already have some basic language skills there. Belgium and Brussels in general is quite affordable when you compare us to our neighbors, so being the Netherlands or even the UK, for example. So cost of living are under the average between our neighbors and so on. Our programs are also 3 years long, so that also saves you 1 year of time and 1 year of study when you are comparing our program with somewhere in the US, for example, that lasts 4 years. And that is because we kind of dive into the subjects. We skip most of the general education courses because these are covered by our secondary school system. Then for those of you who are non-EU citizens, you still have the possibility to work while you are studying with us. You are able to work part-time, not necessarily on campus, but you can work pretty much anywhere, and English is also okay. So that allows you to, explore some professional experiences if you want to, or to have some extra pocket money for your time here. I already talked about traveling and how easy it is to move around. Brussels or Belgium in general is well connected to the rest of the continent and to the US as well. So more or less everybody in smaller cities in the US will have like a two-plane sort of connection. So not three, which happens in a lot of more secluded campus universities. We are in a very cosmopolitan city, so most of our students are able to get home with maximum 2 flights, and so. And lastly, Belgium is quite safe. We enjoy a rather low crime rate, I should say. Of course, Brussels is a capital city. It's a big place, so it will be the same kind of precautions that you would take when you're going to New York or Chicago, LA, or something like that. Kind of like watch out after your back and these kind of things, but nothing else more dramatic or something like that. And then lastly, for Belgium in general, it's a very open-minded and up to standard civil rights place. So people, students who identify with the LGBTQ plus community could feel very safe here and rather welcome. That's very important for us as a school to mention. Also in terms of religion affiliations and stuff like that, we are quite, let's say, open and in a way secular as a school. Now, kind of focusing more on the Brussels School of Governance, I always use these 3 words to describe us: being unique, diverse, and connected. So unique, we are the only school here in the Benelux area, and I would even dare to say in Europe, that combines American and European academic system. That means that our students graduate with a European bachelor, but we follow an American approach to education. That means that there is a lot of hands-on learning. We follow the American academic calendar. Okay, so we start classes around August and we finish the first semester in December, and then we start again in January and continue until the end of May. Okay, so that also identifies us a lot and differentiates us a lot with the rest of European universities. And of course, we follow all the standards of accreditation. So again, as I mentioned, you can continue at the graduate level and so on. Now, the school is quite diverse. So if I can promise you something today, is that you will be immersed in a very diverse international community with your students or your classmates, the staff, and the faculty members. So what does that mean in reality? It means that not only you have friends from all over the world, okay, which is great when you are planning your holidays and things like that, but that also means that your academic experience will be enhanced. You're going to be exposed to different points of views, different perspectives, because of course, if we all, let's say, if we are all studying in a full American classroom, we're all gonna have the same ideas, the same kind of ways that we view things. And when you are exposed to students coming from all over the world, Mexico, Tanzania, Turkey, perhaps Thailand, and whatever, they have a different perspective of the world. So your opinions, your ideas will also be challenged within your classroom. Lastly, we are rather connected. So we are, again, in the heart of Europe, next to the European Commission and other international organizations. So that means that you are going to have opportunities of internships, a high level or high profile places. You will have guest speakers coming to give you workshops. Your professors are going to take you to these institutions, or we will bring an official or a diplomat or something like that to talk to you guys and so on. So there's a lot going on in our classrooms and in our hallways every week. Now, going into more of the academic parts, what can you study at the Brussels School of Governance? We have 3 bachelor programs: Global Business and Entrepreneurship, International and European Law, and International Affairs. And we also have a preparatory program that will basically help those students who are undecided or do not meet our requirements, or perhaps want an easier transition to higher education, to get ready to for our different programs. So now I'm going to sort of go into each of the programs very briefly. I'm not going to explain all the details, but so in the Global Business and Entrepreneurship program, we are creating a profile or a student in 3, let's say, sectors or 3 parts of a business. So when we think of a business, I want you to think of a store, just your favorite store, okay? Think of your favorite store, and then you're gonna think of the person that is in the front of the store, okay? Perhaps the salesperson or the floor manager, okay? So that is, let's say, um, the person that is dealing with the business. So talking to the customers, feeling like, what are they asking? What do they want? What do they need? And what do we offer them? So that is one profile. And that would be perhaps the entrepreneurship idea. So this profile will help you to develop new products, new business model, perhaps you know what's in, what's out, what's new, what should we explore, and these kind of things. Now, I want you to think of the manager of a store, or the person behind in the back room, right? The person perhaps keeping up the books, reading graphs, dealing with supplies, what's coming, what do we need to buy to supply our store, and this kind of person. So that is more of a theoretical profile. So this person will be able to read graphs. They will know more about theoretical things related to business, or maybe they are into international business, trade, this kind of thing. So more of a, again, theoretical background. And then I want you to think of the lawmakers or the policymakers, perhaps someone in your city council, okay, that works in the business development of your city. Okay, so this is another profile that we prepare in this program. Someone who knows the policy, the regulations that a business has to follow in order to function and to operate in a particular place. So that gives you an idea what this program will get you to it. We are not a business school, okay? So that is important for you to know. So we will, again, combine these 3 elements, okay, in one business program. And then here on the screen, you see some of the minors that this program offers. So these minors, and this will make sense later on, are also available for the other students in our program. So if you're a law student, for example, you can also take an international finance or a family business minor, okay? Because we appreciate this interdisciplinary approach to education. My next program, and this is our flagship program, and I don't want to discredit the other programs, but this is because of our location in Brussels, okay? And the personality of the school, this is our flagship program. International affairs is a broad subject. So in this program, I want you to think of any global conflicts that we are experiencing right now. Unfortunately, there is a lot of them, so an example should come really quickly to you. So this program will train you, okay, on how to deal with this conflict. So from a historical point of view, where does it come from? What are the policies that we can follow? How can we negotiate? What kind of theories and concepts can we apply to this conflict that perhaps we can borrow for another one to solve it? How can we deal with this, right? Here, again, you will be very close to the European institutions, policymakers, diplomats, and so on that will teach you, will help you learn this or develop these skills from real case scenarios. Okay, so we will borrow real policy that is being developed right now to deal with these conflicts that we are unfortunately dealing with in our world. Also on the screen, you can see some of the minors that are available from this program. So if you are someone who likes to read the news every day, okay, you enjoy traveling countries, talking to people that are from somewhere else, this might be a program that could resonate with you. Because you will be exposed to this diversity, you will be working with different international organizations and so on. So that should explain briefly what you will be studying here. The next and the last bachelor program that we have is our International and European Law program. The first thing that I want to clarify for the audience and also for Cornelia is that this is not a Bachelor of Law, okay? It's a Bachelor still of Arts with a major in law, okay? What does that mean? That if we put it to the US standards, this is kind of like a pre-law degree. So if you wanted to become a lawyer or if you wanted to go to law school, okay, this will be something that you will do like a pre-law program, okay? For our European audience, this program is not the most straight way forward to become a lawyer in Europe because of regulations. You have to follow national law and so on. It does get you there, but it's not the most straight way to go. But let's go back to what it actually is. So it is an international and European law. We're going to basically study, okay, how countries or international organizations use law to solve situations or issues. So take again that example of the global conflict that you were thinking before, and then we're going to use international law, so articles, constitutions, perhaps the UN Council, these kind of things to deal with that problem. So a good example that we use is, for example, fishing in Europe. There is a bit of controversies because we share our seas with many different countries. So there is often situations where Italy is fishing on the Spanish side, and then they are like, oh, but we was like 1 meter, whatever. So we will use international or European law in that case to see how can we help Italy and Spain to stay friends, and everybody goes back to their fishing territories. So something like that is to give you an idea of what we'll be studying here. We'll be studying human rights at the international level. So when a country is violating international law on human rights against another country or their own citizens. So basically country level law. We are not going to compare Belgian law versus US law. Okay, we're not going to do this kind of analysis. We are already kind of like on another level of law. Now, I told you also that we have a preparatory program, and this program it's open, or let's say is designed for 3 types of students. The first one is for the student who does not feel ready for higher education. Perhaps you struggle a little bit in school, or you needed to take up extra time to finish your studies, so you just don't want to go directly into higher education, but you want to start, right? So that's one type of student. The second student is perhaps you're a student that did not study in English entirely, or does not feel comfortable with their language skills, study skills, and so on, and needs that preparation, okay, to be successful in the bachelor program. And then the third profile that we have, or that we welcome, is the student that perhaps does not meet entirely our entry requirements. So perhaps you're missing 1 point or something like that on your GPA, or I don't know, you fail one of your classes, and we say, okay, we do like your profile, but you don't have the exact grade that we're looking for, and we still give you a chance through our preparatory program. Here, you're going to study with us for 1 semester, okay? Build up those skills, study skills, presentation skills, writing as well. And we will also expose you, sorry, I forgot to mention, another profile of the student is that one who is undecided. I like business, I also like law, and I also like international affairs. I don't know how to choose. So this program will also kind of expose you to those 3 trajectories, or 3 possibilities, so that to help you decide what you want to continue on, okay? Now, how will we learn, or how will you learn at the Brussels School of Governance? At the top, we always put our faculty. Our faculty members are also practitioners. So most of them are academics, they're doing the research, they're involved in research projects, but also a lot of them are working in the field that they are teaching you. So if somebody is teaching you about human rights law, it might be a human rights lawyer or a human rights policymaker. Okay, so to bring you like what's happening in the field to the classroom. Now, the only important thing about this is that you are going to be learning how to network in that field that you're interested in. So that professor will bring, again, guest speakers, something like that, bring those workshops. Maybe they bring you to their office. So there's also like that kind of building your network that will be important after graduation. After that, our objective from the whole school is to bring the real world experience. We're gonna basically use less books and more papers, or like more academic papers, actual things that we are using, the EU law that came out last year, you know, this kind of teaching materials to make you be at the moment. We're not going to use a book that was printed 10 years ago. We're going to use real world documents and so on. Then, how do we do this? We are going to bring the real world experience through internship. I already mentioned high profile internships that we find for you, okay? And every semester we will issue what we call a catalog, where you will see the different positions that are available. And you normally do this halfway through your bachelor. We will have special lectures every month, or I think every 2 weeks, I think, or twice a month. We will have what we call a lunch and learn, and this is when we bring an expert. We will offer lunch for our students, and then this expert or field expert will give you a kind of special lecture on something. For example, next week, or on the end of the month, we have a lecture on tariffs. We have been hearing this word tariffs, US tariff, or the US government increasing tariffs, and then Canada also increasing tariff, and Europe saying we are also going to increase. What is that, right? So we said, let's bring an expert, explain that to our students right now because it is happening. We have one tomorrow, but I don't remember what they're talking about. I'm supposed to be there, but I don't remember the topic. So that's how current it is, okay? These are organized almost like 2 weeks in advance or something like that because it's very current, okay? Then we will bring our students to conferences. We also organize some conferences at the school, so more networking, more kind of immersing yourself in a professional field. And then lastly, this is very important and perhaps very different for American students, it's the capstone project. A capstone project is basically the equivalent of a bachelor thesis or a research paper, but it's a practical project or a practical evaluation that we give you. So the capstone project involves a real case scenario, okay, that you guys have to solve or address with the 3 years of theoretical knowledge that we have put into you during your bachelor degree. Some examples that I can remember before have been how to deal with landmines in Colombia. So it was a real issue a few years ago, and our students developed a policy plan to deal with this. And sometimes, I don't remember if this happened for that project, but these are real, okay? So UN comes to us and ask our students to deal with this and make a proposal. And these are sometimes even implemented in the real world. We have had students in the business program, for example, develop new apps and things like that that are actually working today. One example is, for example, the delivery of medicine or pharmaceutical medicine to the elderly who cannot actually go to the pharmacy and pick up their medication. So things like that are happening here in our hallways. Also, students who want to continue and, let's say, expand their horizons even further than Brussels, they have the opportunity to do study abroad experience, and we have partnerships with different universities strategically, okay, teaching subjects or fields that perhaps are complementary to what we offer to our students. So when we have a partnership with Waseda University in Tokyo, it means that they're going to teach you something that we are not specifically experts on, okay? So these are, that's how we build our partnerships as well. And you can see here on this map that we have partnerships in many different countries. So we have something for everybody. Again, we talked about internships. Here I wanted to make the point that there is a little bit of everything for everybody. Depending on your choice, your career objectives, we will try to find something for you. Again, normally students apply for 2 internships and then they get selected by the partner directly. Before I delve into entry requirements and scholarship opportunities, Cornelia, I did not mention the size of our classroom setting. And perhaps I'm gonna go back to my first picture and I'm gonna show you our graduating class of 2023. So as you guys can see here, it's a very small group. So that means that at the Brussels School of Governance, we welcome 60 students per year. That means that we will have 20 students in our law program, 20 students in our business program, and 20 students in our international affairs program, more or less, okay? Now, that doesn't mean that we are not, or that you are only friends with 60 people. No, we are part of a large university campus. where you will have sports center, cafeteria, library, all massive for another 15,000 other students. But we have our own building. So I want you to also travel to any, in your minds right now, travel to any university campus that that you have seen in the movies or that are near you, and you will see that in that university there are different buildings, and then you have the School of Education, the School of Medicine, the School of Engineering, and la la la. And then you will have the School of Governance, and that is where we will host all of our students, all of our program, administration, everything that you need in terms of your academic life. But we are part of this large green university campus where you have all the facilities that you can imagine outside in the rest of the university. So sorry that I didn't mention that at the beginning of my presentation, but I needed to clarify that because that is a very important point of our school that sometimes we take for granted, even when we're talking in settings like this. So I'm going back to entry requirements and scholarship opportunities. So we take a holistic approach to our admissions. That means that we're going to look at your diploma grades, your motivation letter, and for some students, depending on their curriculum and their background, we will ask for an English proficiency. So with these 2 or 3 elements, we are going to make a decision on your application, okay? For diploma grades, we're looking at an average, very generic, okay? 70% average. That translates to a GPA of a 2.8 over 4, more or less. I don't know if we have IB students here, but that would be 27 IB points. So yeah, if you whatever grade scale that you are, calculate the 70% of it, and that should give you a rough idea of our minimum entry requirements. And your motivation will also play a significant role there because that will help us determine if it's a yes or a no, regardless of your grade. So those 2 items are quite important. And then the English proficiency for those students who did not do their high school in English or are non-native speakers, okay, will help us decide whether or not you need a prep program, even if you have, the grades that we're asking for admissions into our program. So these 3 elements, again, or 2, will determine your admission to us. Then the deadlines for applications are a bit later than what probably you are used to in the US, for example. So for European students or students with a European passport, it's all the way into the summer, okay? And those students who don't have a European passport, it's on 30th of April. That is to help you kind of, make your mind and start processing that student visa to get here. Now, at this point, I should also mention that we have 2 intakes. So you can start in August or in the fall, or you can start in January, which is the spring semester. So you have those 2 start points. So if you are in a school that finishes in May or June and you wanted to take a break, but you don't really want an entire academic year, just for a semester, you can join us in the next January, or vice versa. If you're a school that ends in December or around those kind of southern hemisphere calendar, then you can join us almost immediately in January. So that's those are our 2 start points. Then in terms of tuition, so significantly lower than American college, even if you are out of state and these kind of things. 15,000 euro per year for everybody, regardless of your nationality and citizenship status. That is our standard tuition fee for a year. We, of course, offer academic excellence scholarships, and this is entirely based on academic performance. And for that, we are looking at an 80% grade average, or a more or less like a 3.6 GPA over 4, or a 37 IB points. And this could reduce your tuition up to 50%. So 7,500 euros for the year. If you are interested in the scholarship, this here are your deadlines. And these are hard deadlines, meaning that by the 1st of March, you should have sent us everything that we need for your admissions to our program. And of course, the application for the scholarship as well. So 1st of March for fall, people coming in the fall or August, and 15th of October for people coming in January or in the spring. Okay. Currently, I think we are, last slide, and then we are kind of can open the floor for questions. So we have different initiative for us or for you to connect with us. The first one, considering the distance perhaps between us and your audience, I would say either a chat with our students. They can connect. You can connect with our students, ask questions about life in Brussels, how do they like the program, and so on. Or you can also book an online appointment with us on this address here, brussels-school.be/bookings. And you can have a call like this one with me or with one of my colleagues to answer all your questions. So parents are also welcome to do this together with their students. And we're always happy to connect and have one less email to read and to answer. But if you are in Brussels or you're coming to Europe and want to visit us in person, we have several more opportunities, such as Student for a Day. You can come, sit with our students, go to class, and kind of see if it's an environment that you feel like could work for you. We also have campus visits in the summer. Basically, we will do a campus tour. We will have something to eat and kind of show you the campus. Well, it is kind of on a summer break, but we still are open for you. And then we have our open days regularly twice a year, once a semester. So if you are considering some school visits here in Europe, then of course we are super happy to welcome you on our campus. That's all I have for today. Cornelia, I do have another video. So perhaps if people have questions, they can kind of, formulate them while we watch this sort of final hint of what life in Brussels can be. All right, I think that's all I have for you. So I can stop sharing and then we can start with questions if there is people with any.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So let me see if we have any questions actually. Let me go to the chat. Okay, Amalia says too, this was a wonderful presentation. I have a couple of questions. What kind of housing is available for students? Perfect.
Okay.
That was a question I had for you too. So there you go.
That is a great question. And I'm glad that Amanda brought it up. So, okay, housing is under the responsibility of the incoming student, okay? So we will, of course, recommend, okay, some student residences that they can opt for and not say apply for a room, but they are responsible for following up in this process, okay? Just so for the audience to know, in Belgium or in the Benelux area, rooms or dorms, let's say, are individual. So you don't have to, let's say, think of having a roommate inside your room. So we're quite a little bit individualistic here. So students will have one bedroom sort of studio apartment. I mean, I think apartment is a bit of a big word, but it's a room, okay, with normally the bed, of course, and then a space for studying, so a desk, chair, and a little kitchenette, okay, to prepare small dishes like pasta, rice, some meats or vegetables and things like that. And now, if you wanted to prepare like a pizza, where you need a more of a larger appliance, normally um, the residents will have a shared kitchen. Well, you will have these bigger appliances, perhaps even a larger freezer to keep your food and stuff like that. But yeah, so residences are normally around 15-20 minutes away from our campus walking distance. So quite convenient in that sense. I can talk a little bit about pricing as well. So for expenses, okay, so personal expenses, I always tell our students to be comfortable, okay, and not be worrying about counting every single euro. You should consider between 850 and 1,000 euro per month to cover all of your expenses. And here I'm talking about from your room to the food you eat to perhaps some pocket money to go out on a Friday night once a month. Perhaps what else? Medication if you fell ill or something like that. And also, Cornelia, this is very important to know. Health care here in Belgium is universal. So the students, even if they are not European citizens, they can purchase an insurance, and this will cost you guys, don't fall off your chairs, about 200 euro for the year. Okay,
Oh my
for
God.
the year. Okay, and this will give you access to doctors, to paying your reading classes, to maybe even paying a portion of your gym subscription. So it is quite affordable. So if we compare it to our neighbors in the Netherlands and so on, we fall really way below the average, and the quality is super good. So when I talk to students about expenses, I don't even talk about health insurance because it's almost irrelevant. It's even cheaper than paying for your cell phone. So also things like transportation for students is 12 euro per year. Okay, and this is the transportation pass for the metro, bus and tram network in Brussels. So 1 euro per month. Um, so all of that, okay, definitely plays a role in your should play a role in your decision making with higher education. So yeah, so that's why I say to be comfortable, 1,850 at the minimum, to be comfortable to pay all your accommodation and all of the expenses related to that.
Oh, okay, perfect. So you said that within the cost that that you just gave us, that's also housing is included in the
Yes,
850 to
absolutely.
1,000.
Your rent. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah, yeah.
that's amazing. One more question regarding the housing also. For the residence halls, is it hard to get a spot? I mean, do you have to apply early, or what is the timeline like, once you're admitted to your
Mhm.
school, do you immediately have to find housing, or how would you describe that?
Okay, so applying early is always highly recommended. Okay, that release, it calms down our student, eliminates a bunch of unnecessary stress. So I always tell my candidates to do this. By May, okay, you should have already applied, getting an acceptance and everything, so that you can start putting yourself on those application lists for the rooms. So by May, if you are accepted and you are like, I think I'm going to Brussels, you should already be starting to look at the residences. What happens? Those residents will take those lists and then we'll start calling people on the list. not, well, maybe calling, emailing or so. We'll start contacting these students and say, hey, do you want a room here? If you do, sign this contract, and it's yours. So by May, people should have had their minds already set up to enjoy your summer. Okay. If you wait longer, it's still okay, but you're going to be living farther away from the campus. By far away, I mean perhaps a 20-minute tram ride, okay, and not 20-minute walking distance. Okay, so you're gonna be farther away, which is not the end of the world either, but we want you to be closer to the campus. So May is your sort of like key month to have the acceptance and your mindset already for Brussels.
Perfect. In terms of acceptances, do you admit on a rolling basis? Which means, like, we had the question here from Amalia also, who says your admission deadlines are quite late compared to others. Is there any sort of option for early admission so that you can make decisions earlier? So in that sense, if you are admitting on a rolling basis, then students would find out earlier if they are admitted, and they could make
Yes. Absolutely. We do operate in our own rolling basis. So we start our application period or admissions period normally in the September, kind of before of our start, or let's say 12 months before you are supposed to come here. So September or the January before you want to join us. So normally it takes us about 4 weeks to give an acceptance. So yes, if you apply for Amalia who asked about the early decisions, yeah, if you apply in October and you have the documents that we need, because this is when it becomes a little bit of a, let's say, about the school where you are. If you have your predicted grades, what we call the predicted grades, or the first grade report from your last year of high school, then we will give you a conditional acceptance based on those. So it is always conditional in principle, because we still need to see that high school diploma to make your acceptance sort of official, no? But this is more of a sort of protocol. Once we issue a conditional acceptance, the reasons to withdraw that acceptance are quite specific.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Another question in the chat is, what is your admissions rate? Do you have a number for us?
Yes, this is a very important question. And I know when I say 60, people tend to, how do I say, get scared a little bit. And I don't want anybody to get discouraged from applying. Our acceptance rate is quite generous. It's closer to 60, okay? Because what happens is that we do our rolling admissions, right? So we sort of give an equal opportunity to all of our applicants. We are not going to say no to somebody to say yes to somebody else. So we will admit almost everybody that fills our requirements and the profile that we're looking for. And then this is kind of like natural selection. So whoever confirms first gets their seat, and those who are late or let's say hesitant will kind of be at the bottom of the list, and then they might go into a waiting list in case we get some cancellations. But that's how our groups of 60 more or less get sort of formed or selected, let's say.
So in terms of, because you just said, yeah, the ones that commit. So could a student potentially commit already, even though they're conditionally admitted, because they still have to finish high school, right? So, but they could say, yes, I'm in, and then they obviously have preference.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they can, once we give a conditional acceptance, they already can confirm, okay?
Okay.
Like I said, if we have to backtrack that acceptance for X reason, there is a protocol for that. But these are normally very dramatic situations where the student perhaps did not earn the diploma, or fell significantly below our minimum requirements. But that's because there's something happened to that student. Okay, so yeah, the conditional acceptance is already in technically it's a full acceptance.
Okay.
Because of regulations, we have to call it conditional.
Okay, perfect. I had another, I'm kind of like going a little back to something what you said earlier. So, so the Brussels School of Governance obviously is very small in size, but you said that they are part of the, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but the Freie University Berlin or Freie or whatever, I'm not sure.
Vrije, yeah.
Freie, or Freie
Vrije.
University, exactly. So the
Yes,
VUB, so does
right.
that mean, and you mentioned that students can use all the facilities, obviously are
Yes.
integrated in that big university as part of kind of like almost like an honors college in a way, right? A smaller one. Does that mean that they can also take courses there too, if they wanted to? I don't even know if the time will allow that, but I mean, would that potentially be an option or not?
It is not an option because our course template and is different from the rest of the university. So
Oh, I
when we
see.
start in August, they only start almost at the end of September. So we are almost halfway through our semester when they are only starting at the rest of the university.
Okay, perfect. That makes sense. And then one more general question before I get to a question in the chat that's
Mhm.
more like a particular one. How about student services, like student support service in terms of academic support, but also health and well-being? What do you have in place at
This is an
BSoG?
amazing question because it's also something that characterizes us. Again, going back to the 60, okay, or that number, it's basically an environment where we will know the student almost by first name. So when I walk in the hallway, I'm like, oh, hello, you, hello, X. Remember, that is how the environment is. So we sort of will already know kind of what's going on with our students. Of course, some we will know better than others, of course. But just starting from that small size, it already kind of offers a lot more student support because we will know them, we will see them on the hallway. They have no way to hide from us. And if they do, we will notice that as well in the classroom. So besides that sort of natural supports, we have an in-house psychologist, for example, open door policy once a week, who is actually one of our alumni. So he knows what our students go through. They know what they're studying, or he knows what they're studying. So he was on those same desks a few years ago. Then we have a student well-being office. This is also an open door and by appointment policy um, space where the students can go. And if it's today's an open door policy, you can go there and talk about anything that is bugging you right now in this moment. Whether it is with school, whether it is your mom, whether it is you're missing home or you have a conflict with another student, you can come talk to that in that office about anything. Okay. Um, then, more academically, of course, the student well-being officer is kind of like the bridge or the connecting point between the student, the staff, and perhaps the faculty. So if the student says, "Oh, I have an issue with my course, whatever," we will be like, "Okay, let's talk to your professor. Maybe we can talk the three of us together to find a solution. Let's, because sometimes students are intimidated by their professors or something. So we kind of, help them out that way. Now, at a more academic level, the support comes first directly from the program directors. So all of our first year students will have as academic advisor the program director. So this program director knows, of course, everything about their program. They will help them build their 3-year curriculum on their first semester. The program director knows all of the staff, of course, working under that program. So academically, there is that. We also have kind of like peer-to-peer support organized by our student government. So if a student needs tutoring or something like that, that's something that we can also organize for them. So there is different ways to get support for different needs, but in a way, it's kind of like also all naturally because of our size.
Yeah, wow, that sounds amazing. Lots of support available, definitely.
Yeah.
So there is another question in the chat where they're wondering, the student will be 17 in August after the high school graduation, and they were wondering if that is a problem, because obviously they would attend the program 17 years old, but they are also a EU citizen. So yeah, maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
So that at our school is not a problem, okay? And also especially because the student has a EU nationality. Because normally for visa purposes, most students will have to be 18. I don't know what their window is, but they have to be kind of 18 by the moment that they come to Belgium, if I understand it correctly. But the fact that the EU nationality, that shouldn't pose a problem. I would have to, you have to check what will be the extra perhaps step when signing the contract to with a residence. Perhaps since the student is not over 18, perhaps the contract has to be signed by the parents or the legal guardian or something like that on behalf of the student. But that's something that kind of like, you know, it would have to, the student will have to check. But for us, it's not a problem.
Okay, well, that's good to know. And then one last question before I let you go, because I know it's evening over there. Do you offer an orientation week
Of
for,
course.
international students, that they kind of have a little bit of hand-holding to kind of just
Yes,
assimilate?
those are normally on the week before we start classes. Normally like mid-August, we have a 2-day orientation for all of our students. And this is also another point that I want to make. We don't differentiate between international or domestic students. All of our students are the same, and that is just to also emphasize the high diversity level in our campus. So yes, we have an orientation where we explain, all the nits and grits about the classes, how to register, where to go. The student ambassadors also organize several activities. There is normally a student welcome party thing that we don't want to know what happens, but that also is there for them kind of get immersed already into their new social life. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you tell them how to open a bank account and all
Yes,
these
of
kind of
course, of
things.
course. Those are
How
more
to
important things also.
exactly, right? And also kind of to like register at the municipality, because I think that's what they need to
Yes,
do, right? Like, yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Okay, that sounds all really, really great. Well, thank you so much, Juan Carlos, for answering all my questions, all our questions that our audience had. That was really, really helpful, and I'm completely impressed what support and everything else what you offer. So, thank you so much. We have reached the end of the Global College Spotlight for today. A big thank you to everyone for joining us, and of course to Juan Carlos for taking out the time to introduce us to the Brussels School of Governance and to this fantastic programs. Before you go, I have a quick update. Our next Global College Spotlight will take place on March 13th at 10 a.m., so the same time like today for us here in California. And we will be featuring Universidad Nebrija in Madrid, Spain. So I hope you will mark your calendar and that you can join us for another Global College Spotlight then. And yeah, with that, I wish you all a wonderful day or evening, depending on where you are. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you in March. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Cornelia. Bye-bye.